here it's a line by line essay. It's a very important one, very motivating, very inspiring. So many times this question is asked that what is the purpose of a study according to Francis Bacon? So this is from the first line itself. His main purpose was that it is for delight. So if we go according to the chronology, he gave the first importance to delight because it appears first. Delight means enjoyment. Studies should be for the enjoyment. The second is for ornament. Ornament is indicating here your personality. The people who are learned, they look smarter than the dull, and it improves our ability. It improves our skills to do our day-to-day work. So there are three purposes of a study. That is again a question asked in the exam. What are the purpose of a study? So it is delight, ornament, and ability. So we are able to frame two questions out of the first sentence. And he clarifies again that the chief use of a study is for delight. The chief use, the main use of a study is for delight, it is for enjoyment. And this enjoyment is more when the study is done in privateness. When there is no one around, you are alone, lonely. That time it gives more pleasure. So if you are studying in privateness and while you are retiring, when you are resting, then it gives most pleasure. For ornament is in discourse. When you are talking with some other people, if you are a learned man, if you believe in studies, it will give you pleasure while you are talking to other people. So it will look like an ornament in the discourse, in your writing, in your speaking. And for ability is in the judgment and disposition of business. And where we find what is the use of ability? Whenever we are making decisions in our life, judgment means decisions. When we are making decisions in our life, or we are doing our daily work, disposition of business. Business indicates here day-to-day work. So whatever the work we are doing in our day-to-day life, there our ability will come into action. So for expert man can execute. So if there is any thought, it can only be executed only by the expert man. Thought is there with everyone, but only those people can execute them who are learned. And perhaps judge of particulars one by one. And only the learned man can judge the particular thing, that which is good or which is bad. Those who are not learned, those who do not believe in studies, they cannot judge. And but the general counsels and the plots and marshalling of affairs come best from those that are learned. So only the learned people can bring good affairs in their life. Only the learned people can have good connections with the various things, plots in their life. So here he emphasizes the importance of study. Okay, so in the next line he says that to spend too much time in studies is sloth. If you are studying too much, you are a kind of studious man, then it expresses that you are sloth, you are lazy. So too much study is also not good, according to Bacon. So to spend too much time in studies is sloth. So the one who is doing too much studies is a kind of lazy man. To use them too much for ornament. If the study is used for expressing the personality, this is affectation. If there are some people who lavishly keep talking, बिना मतलब के बातें करते हैं, they show off. It's a kind of show off that I am learned, I am very much studious. So actually it is affectation. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
So the people who are not learned, actually they do this kind of activity. So when they are using this study as an ornament for affectation, affectation means something unnatural. That is again bad. First he says too much study is laziness. It is bad. But if you are using this studies for show off, again it is bad. It is affectation. To make judgment wholly by their rules is the humor of a scholar. To make judgment wholly by their rules. That means if you are making all the judgments in your life, if you are making all the decisions of your life according to the books, then it's like a humor. Again, it is bad. You are forgetting the reality. All the decisions are based on books only. All the judgments are based on the books only. Again, it's a bad thing. It's like a humor for a scholar. So all the three purposes that he said in the first line, that is enjoyment. If you are too much studying throughout since morning to night, it shows you are lazy. And the second was used for ornament. But if you are using this study for ornament, for show off, again it is affectation. It is very bad. And to make judgment wholly by the rules, if you are doing every decision in your life based on the bookish knowledge, again it's a kind of humor for the scholar. Okay, Deepika, can you explain the next stanza?
Yes, sir. The perfect nature and the perfect nature and are perfected by the experience for natural abilities and like natural plants that need pruning by study and studies themselves to give forth direction too much at the large except they be bounded by the experience. So in this stanza he is saying that the for perfect nature we for making our nature perfect we need experiences, and the experiences only will become by the studies. And he's saying the natural abilities are like natural plants, so our natural abilities are like natural plant only. And like like we nurture the plant, like we give water to the plant and we take care of the plant, likewise we need to take care our nature as well, and it will be enhanced only by the studies only. And he is saying the studies and studies themselves to give for direction too much. So studies give us direction, right directions, that what is right and what is wrong we can only get to know by studies only, except that bounded by the experience. And some, and at the end he is saying that experience can be gained only by the studies only. And I don't understand the last line. Sorry, sir.
Okay, fine. So they perfect nature and are perfected by experience for natural abilities are like natural plants that need pruning. Pruning means cutting them short. So they perfect nature and are perfected by experience. The people are perfected by the experience. They get perfection with experience only. Nobody is perfect when they are born. So the perfection comes out of experience. And they perfect nature. When they are perfection in their experience, then they understand what is the perfection of the nature. And it becomes a natural ability. When someone is focused on study, it becomes a natural ability. It becomes a habit. It becomes a behavior. And it is like natural plants that need pruning. So it is just like when the plants grows, they grow in different directions and the branches are of different shapes and sizes. So many times we need to do pruning. Are you getting the meaning of pruning? To give a correct shape. Many times you must have seen some of the trees are shaped using the cutters. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
So like that, by a study and studies themselves do give forth directions too much at large, except they be bounded in by experience. So it is only possible to shape our knowledge by pruning. In study also, through a study, we are cutting the excess things, the things which are not required in us, or we can say the fallacies in us, the wrongdoings in us. They all things are cut. They are all pruned by the studies. Okay, the next is crafty man. Contemn studies. Simple man admire them, and wise man use them. This is again a very famous quotation. Crafty man. Crafty man indicates clever man. Clever, those who thinks that they are clever. In fact, they are not clever. There are few people who feels like they are learned, they are clever, but in fact, it is not. So they hate studies because they know that they have entire knowledge of the world in their mind. They hate studies. They feel like all the books belongs to them only. So he's talking about that kind of man, crafty man. They contemn studies. They hate studies. But there are simple people who rather do not study, but yes, they know that study is a good thing. So they just admire them. But wise man use them. Wise man, they read the book and they use them. For they teach not their own use, but that is a wisdom without them and above them won by observation. Because the wise man are having a very good ability for observation. Wherever they go, they observe around everything, they observe, and through that observation they are enhancing their wisdom, they are enhancing their knowledge. So he says that read not to contradict and confute. So when you are getting study from the books, do not read to make contradiction, not to believe and take for granted. So whatever is written in the book, do not believe it fully and do not take the things for granted that whatever is written is 100% right. Otherwise, you will never look for the truth. So whatever, through these lines, he want to say that whatever is written is not 100% truth. If you take it for granted, you will never explore for the truth. Not to find talk and discourse. Not to find talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. So do not study just for the talking purpose. When you read, go and talk with your friends that I have read this and that. No, do not read for the talking purpose. Do not read for making discourse. Discourse means either the written discourse or verbal discourse. So do not only study for talking and discourse, but to weigh it and consider it, but to understand the weight of that knowledge and assimilate the all knowledge, consider them, assimilate them inside. And
thank you, sir.
Okay, so he says that there are various kinds of book in this world. So you should not go for reading all the books thoroughly, because some books are only made, they are to be tested, means they are to be scanned. Just go through few of the pages, that's all. Other are to be swallowed. There are few others which you have to read and forget. Swallowed means we have to read and forget. But there are few books which need to be chewed and digested, which you have to read it again and again. Like when we chew the food in our mouth, we chew several times. So they are to be chewed, they are to be read, revise again and again. And then digested means when it get digested, the food get digested, its minerals, vitamins get infused into our body. So similar kind of digestion is required. When you have chewed the things, whatever the output you have taken, whatever the inspiration you have taken, that is to implement it on your personality. That shows digested. So when the things get digested, when the food get digested, we become healthy. So when the knowledge get digested, we become intelligent. So he says that is, some books are to be read only in parts, others to be read but not curiously. That means it is to be swallowed. But some few to be read wholly with determination and attention, so that it can be digested, it can be assimilated in our personality. Very famous lines and really very informative. In the next paragraph he writes, some books also may be read by deputy and extracts made of them by others, but that would be only in the less important arguments and the meaner sort of books. Else distilled books are like common distilled waters, fleshy things. So deputy means the learned person of the society. So some books are maybe read by the deputy, and when they read the book, they write the reviews, they write the extracts made of them, they write the reviews out of them. But that would be only in less important arguments. So do not focus on their reviews, do not read the reviews, rather read the original text, because it is their argument which is of very less importance, and the meaner sort of books. So when they make the arguments about a particular book, it is a kind of review which is of very mean thing. So it is like a distilled water. The water is distilled, water is filtered, all the minerals and vitamins are gone. So that review is just like distilled water. So I'll just give a reminder to a few of the scholars who are joining at 7:30. Today's timing is 7 o'clock. Kindly make a note. Wednesday and Saturday. I think I have sent the study timetable to everyone. Okay. So he is emphasizing that we should not read the reviews or arguments made by someone about a particular book. So he's writing a kind of the thing against criticism, that those criticism are not the original books, they are the arguments which are very less importance. They are like the distilled water, filtered water. And then he says, reading make the full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. Again, a very famous quotation.
Yes, sir.
So when we are reading the things, it makes us a full man. But yes, the knowledge is there inside us, but we are not able to implement it. So how we will be able to implement? When we look out in the world, when we come out of isolation, we come out of our house to see the others around, and when we see how they are doing their job, then we think that I have the knowledge, but I am not able to implement it. So conference indicates coming out of isolation. Conference indicates the world. So when we see the world, then it makes a ready man. And when we write the things after studying, that makes a exact man. And therefore, if a man write little.
Sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, have you started class just now, or the class is running for a few time? Like it has been some time.
What is the time for today?
7 p.m.
Very right. So half an hour is gone.
Sir, actually my class was running. That's why I asked. Oh.
Okay. So,
okay,
so we are discussing a very important essay by Francis Bacon of Studies.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we are about to finish it up. So he says that, so he says that, and therefore if a man write little, he need have a great memory. Okay, again a very important point. He says that there are few people who write too much. There are few people who do not write at all. Like making notes. There are few people who believe in making notes. They have filled up registers and registers. But there are few people who do not believe in making notes. So he says that if a man write little, if a man has the habit of writing very little, he should have a great memory, and vice versa. That means those who have a poor memory, they should write more, and those who are writing less, they should have a great memory, so that if they are just reading, they should be able to assimilate everything in their mind. Then if he confer little, he had need to have a present wit and humor. So if he is having a very little confer, then he should have to have a present wit all the time. He should look energetic, he should look excited. And if he read little, that's the biggest problem everyone is facing, not getting time to read. So if he read little, he had need to have much cunning to seem to know that he doth not. So it's a kind of, if you are getting less time to study, if you're not that much of knowledge, then you should wear a mask where you should look like you are very studious, you are very learned. If you are sitting among the learned people, they should understand that you are also a very learned, you know everything. So he says that they need to have much cunning to seem to know everything, even he does not know. Again, a very inspiring and very informative lines. Okay, the next paragraph he says that history make men wise. He says that when we read the historical things, the things which are having facts and figures, which are the real things, reality, it makes us wise. When we read the poets, when we read the poetry, it makes us witty. When we read the mathematics, mathematics is a kind of thing, if you solve the maths, you will be very much busy all the time, completely focused. So the mathematics will make you subtle, will make you focused. So those people whose mind are not concentrated at one place, they should solve mathematics so that they should remain subtle, they should remain focused. Natural philosophy makes us deeper, deep understanding, because it is the philosophy. So if we read the philosophy, it will make us deeper. Moral grave, logic and rhetoric able to contain. And in this, he uses a Latin sentence, ebent studia in mores. That means study becomes habits. When we use it as a we should use it as a profession, so that the study should become a habit. Okay, now he says that no, there is no stone or impediment in the weight, but may be wrought out by fit studies, like as disease of the body may have appropriate exercises. He says that like in our body, we have different disease. Like someone is having headache, someone is having back pain, leg pain, arthritis. Then he says that for every disease, there is an appropriate exercise. And similarly, for every ignorance, there is always a study. Like for disease, we have the exercises. In the similar fashion, for the ignorance, for the dull mind, we have the study. He is giving another example. Bowling is good for the stone and reins. Shooting for the lungs and breast. Those who are doing the bowlings, that's good for stones. Stones in the body. Body stones is talking about. Shooting. Those who are doing the shooting. Shooting is good for lungs and breast. Gentle walking, those who are doing morning and evening walks, walking is good for stomach. And riding is good for head and the like. So similarly, he is talking that for every part of the body, there are some exercises. What about mind? Then he says, so if a man's wit be wandering, let him study the mathematics. So if a man's habit is wandering, means he is not focused. Sometime thinking here, sometime thinking in America, sometime in India. So if man's wit is wandering, let him study the mathematics. Give him some homework and let him solve the mathematics. For in demonstration, if his wit be called away never so little, he must begin again. Now he says, wit be not apt to distinguish or find differences. Okay, so if there is someone who's not able to distinguish between the good and the bad, who is not able to understand between the two things, two unlike things, then let him study the schoolman. Schoolman indicates here philosophers. So let him study the philosophers. Then he will, his mind will get different types of infusions in different sectors of the mind. So they should read the schoolman, they should read the philosophers. If he be not apt to beat over matters and to call up one thing to prove and illustrate another, let him study 197, the lawyer's cases. If he be not apt to beat over matters, if he is not able to solve the problems in his life, beat over the matters, and to call up one thing to prove and illustrate another, if he is not able to prove any particular argument by taking some other examples, then he should study the lawyer's cases. I think it's 197 indicates some historical things I'm also not aware of. 197, the lawyer's cases. So if they are able to study the lawyer's cases, they will find there lots of examples through which they will be able to prove their arguments. So every defect of the mind may have a special receipt. So likewise, we found that for the body, there are different exercises. So for every defect of mind, whether it's ignorance or dullness or psychological problem, there have to be a special receipt. Okay, so this was the finishing of the office studies. Again, very interesting and very important. In some other class, I'll talk about Of Love. Again, very inspiring, very motivating essay. I personally like these two essays very much.